Welcome back, everybody, to Week 8 of the Quake Pro League. I am 40 Lions, joined by the one and only Flea. We just saw quite the upset here officially in the Quake Pro League. Strong Sage taking it over dramiS. Now we have our third set of the day, dramiS versus SIB. I remember way back in the day where these guys used to play twos together. It's been a while, Flea.
Yeah, it sure has. Now, these two players are no stranger playing each other in the Quake Pro League. Unfortunately for SIB, dramiS has kind of had his number. 3-0 in terms of matches played. dramiS has taken the win every time.
Wow, quite the history there. I'm sure he's looking to break that streak, but dramiS, we've already talked about him a little bit. His game is a little bit insane to some. That's probably a good way to describe it, based on his rail play and the ability to use the rail at will and any given moment, any distance. It doesn't matter as we take a look at his history throughout this season so far. Strong win, and then it's been a rough ride.
Yeah. Starting off on a high note, taking down Sirius, but ever since, somewhat unsuccessful in his efforts. But then again, many of the players that he's gone up against have been some of the absolute best in the world, right? ramiS, Wenger, Rafa. Those matches are always going to be in the opponent's favor, and you're gonna have to really, really work at it to get a win against some of those. So let's hope for dramiS' sake that this really has been just a period of, okay, let's get, the worst out at the beginning, and then hopefully we can now end on a more positive note and start stringing together some wins.
Sure, shake it all off. It's fine. Just get the losses out of the way early, kind of like Dan always talks about duels. If you're going to lose early in the first 2-3 minutes to give yourself time to come back. Absolute legend that muscly man is. As we take a look at SIB, and we can see the breakdown of him so far this season. SIB has been in and out of the league, kind of top of the challengers, able to punch his ticket back this season. And he also started off with a strong victory, and then it's been another rough ride. The heavy hitters in the lineup for sure, but both these players just looking to put up a dub, Flea.
Absolutely, they both kind of mirror each other in terms of matchups, right? Starting off the season strong, getting that initial win, but ever since unable to secure another one. So for one of these players, that is bound to change today, and one of them is going to walk away with their second win of the season.
So we will see. Sorry, I don't know if okay, I thought I was slacking for a second. I thought Nyx did something again. We will take a look at the pick bands shortly here as we get into it and get a better picture of what we have in store between these two players, dramiS and SIB. As you said, the history is there. We're going to start off on Vale. We're going to go into Molten Falls and then a little bit of Awoken. And as always, Flea, if you can give me the champ breakdown, please.
Let's take a look. Vale of Pnath starting off Ranger versus Strok. Pretty common picks. I would say Ranger works so well because of the verticality, right? There's so many bounce pads, so many teleporters that you can easily circumvent by using the orb. And on the other hand, we've seen a lot of effective Strog on this as well. A lot of places where you can build that momentum and where you can use Speaker effectively by dropping down, sending the robot right back up, for instance. Map 2, we are getting the clutch ban. We know that SIB can really bring things home with clutch as well, so dramiS doesn't want anything to do with that, takes him out of the pool right then and there. And then we're getting to see another Nyx on Molten Falls, kind of like ramiS just did, but this time around up against another fast, small, squishy champion, Anarchy. And then on the final map, Awoken, we are seeing the BJ being played by SIB, so he's got that burst damage, the dual wield, up against the mobility that lies in the Doomslayer of dramiS.
Love to see it. You don't see a Blazkowicz that often anymore. I think Sirius loves playing him because, I mean, when you're hitting 65% LG, why not double it? But yeah, very interesting pick there on Awoken. I'm ashamed that we don't have another Keel pick, but that's fine. I'll talk to my therapist about it. Flea, looking at this lineup, who do you think is going to be able to take this set?
Difficult to say. In terms of champion picks and bans, I would say dramiS has a bit of an edge on Vale, SIB on Molten Falls, and then Awoken. I'd give it to dramiS just because we know how good he is on the movement champs and how much he can make that extra mobility work in his favor. So I'm leaning towards a 2-1 for dramiS, but this could really go either way.
I agree. I feel like it's based on dramiS's gameplay and style. If he plays that typical, I'm just going to use the rail a ton, which, don't get me wrong, I love, but it's very hit or miss, literally. So if he can hit the rails and convert those frags that he really shouldn't be getting away with, it'll go in his favor. But if he starts missing with the rails. I hope that he kind of alters the play style a little bit and doesn't fully commit to it, because we have seen him struggle with some rail play, and it ends up costing him frags on the map because he's just not willing to switch off and adapt mid-game. So it'll be interesting to see that. Taking a quick peek at the prediction, it looks like 62% in favor of dramiS, at least on map number 1. So we will see how it shakes out. I personally, I'm just going to jinx it anyway, so who cares what I think. But should be a good matchup. Looking forward to this one. Again, a lot of history here. SIB looking to snap the streak of losing to dramiS, I believe you mentioned 3 times in a row previously in the Quake Pro League. So he's got a little something to prove here.
Absolutely. Now let's see. Both of these players, 1 win for the season. One of them is going to end up with 2. After this series, let us take a look, a gander at who it is going to be. This is the first map. SIB versus dramiS. Starting it off on the perspective of dramiS, who is immediately going to seize the heavy. And SIB rushing for the rockets and delaying Mega by a significant amount of time. He waited 10 seconds before picking it up, and I'm not sure if dramiS heard it, so dramiS might not have a single clue as to when that other major item is going to spawn. Plus, he doesn't have an LG, so taking these mid-range fights, always going to be risky for him.
Going the peeker early to try and clear out some space here as he's trying to contest. Good misdirection with the Dire Orb, doesn't want to commit to it and take that damage, but dramiS now taking Tri-Bolt damage, trying to go through the Thunderdome and deal damage on this Mega, and it looks like rather free for SIB, so that delay coming in handy.
Sure did. SIB able to establish a nice foundation in terms of control, in terms of stack right now. dramiS is already set up for the heavy though. Looking to pounce on SIB from above. Nice opening rocket. Knocks him down the ledge. This should guarantee dramiS the heavy at least. A little bit of exit damage. Sure, he was hoping for a lot more than just 15. Nice rail though. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he does. Kind of blindsided, but still turns it around.
Woohoo.
And there we go. First frag of the series with the Tri-Bolt.
Love to see it. Nice weapon switch there. I thought he was just going to try and find another rail angle, but instead uses the Tri-Bolt. Well, wow, that vertical rail, and there it is again. dramiS is heating up, and that's just dramiS things right there. 3 for 3 for his second frag.
62% rail on dramiS's end versus 0 for SIB. SIB hasn't landed single rail so far. That's really helping dramiS out so far. There we go. SIB lands his first shot, but it won't amount to much because he's too close. And that orb bridged the final little bit of distance between them.
My God, so much LG. 4-0 for dramiS. And yeah, the Dire Orb was almost a little bit too much. Get the bucket. It didn't need to be that way. He had him dead to rights, but really wanted to put the stamp on it. 4-0 for dramiS. Looking comfortable. As you mentioned, fantastic rail accuracy right now. And SIB has got to slow it down, start hitting some rails of his own to try and chip away at this stack, as dramiS has pretty good control over the map as well.
Sure does. SIB landing sneaky rail. That doesn't do much more than put a dent in the stack that dramiS has to work with, especially since he's able to continue maneuvering himself onto these items. SIB might be caught in a bad position, manages to slip on out and land a nice little shot on the back. Now dramiS actually has to be careful. SIB pushing in, just takes a little too much damage, rushing through the choke point, and now dramiS gets the Mega just in time and a good rail to boot. That's gonna help him out a lot. SIB is still there. dramiS was not expecting his opponent to be lingering right there. Missed out on a good opportunity for another frag.
Still has an opportunity here. There's one rail trying to make it 2, and he does. 6-0 for dramiS. Has 11 of the major items. SIB only has 2 Megas living off the light armors, which he has 9 of, but still, it's not really working out right now. 3:30 in. Gotta try and adapt a different game plan here, as dramiS is just all over it.
Full control for dramiS. The only major items that SIB has managed to secure so far for the have been those opening Megas, and that's it. Everything else has been claimed by the Dragonborn esports player, who's able to shut out yet another frag, and now 7 points in the lead. SIB eats a rocket. Perfect timing by dramiS, but there we go. SIB getting his first frag of the series. But can he make something happen? Because he is weak, doesn't have a lot of stack to work with, even with the heavy pickup. dramiS still outstacking him.
Ooh, that rocket. SIB might get caught out here trying to get that light. Gets stuck on the rocket. 1 HP. The follow-up won't do the damage it needs, but he's hanging by a thread. 125 to work with. dramiS just drops on him with the rocket. Does hit a rail on his exit, but dramiS is so stacked it doesn't really matter. Now it's going to be a fight for the heavy. SIB gets there just a little bit in time. A little bit before. Dire Orb to take it. The shotgun not strong enough. dramiS is okay. He's donating items right now. 9-1, 5 minutes in. And SIB's just gotta, like, position a little better. And good rail there. That's a good opener. And another one. He needs more of that. Good rails to open. Better positions on the items. And just more so get map control. He has 2 heavies along with those 2 megas. Make it 3 that he got earlier in the game. So now a little bit of map controls coming out from SIB. This is a good turn.
Good rails right there. dramiS was railable for a moment, but picks up a health bubble just in time as he pushes in. This is a huge lead for the... We've seen some really major comebacks on this map in particular, but is SIB up for the task?
It's a little bit of damage with the peeker, but not a lot. Just enough to delay and grab that heavy without taking any damage, which is pretty big. Trailing 8 frags, he's going to need a bit of a miracle here. And as you said, comebacks are possible. It's got to start now. Time is not his friend. 4 minutes to grab these 8 frags.
Nice rails from both of these players. Not a lot of time between Mega and Heavy, so we're probably just going to see a bit of a split. SIB securing Mega. dramiS actually messing up positioning on the item. I'm not sure if he just wasn't fully aware of when Heavy would spawn, or if he was planning to maybe stop SIB from entering the room. But he kind of overshot the item a second before it spawned, and then SIB kind of traded places with him in a very messy encounter, stole away the item, and now has another lifeline to come back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if dramiS did the rocket jump to gain speed and went too fast. I missed it because I was looking at SIB's perspective as he's able to claim this mega, but unfortunate for dramiS. But these rockets into Dire Orb might make up for it. That's a good rocket from SIB into the peeker, not able to get all the damage he wants, but dramiS a little bit weak, does pick up the heavy. Now it's a battle at the light armor and the acid. Again, I always said take acid with a babysitter, chat. 11-3 as SIB pays the price. And Tri-Bolt, oh, just meddling, absolutely annoying Tri-Bolt, hitting all the speed bumps, 46 HP, and almost gets more.
SIB hanging on for dear life in that engagement, does manage to get out, starts to restack. He doesn't have the time for this, 40. If there's any chance of him making a comeback, it has to start now, and just look at the top of the screen. dramiS' stack dwarfs that of SIB. And dramiS, so patient because he knows that he can burn time for days. He's not the one who's under pressure right now. He's not the one who's being forced to make up a big point deficit.
Big rockets into the rail. Great damage to the peeker to finish. The Dire Orb to counter, but somehow SIB able to swap back and just get that frag. 9 HP, it looked like. Very fortunate there. Still a lot of work. Now he's too weak to contest this, but doesn't really have the choice. Has to try and make something happen. Instead, he's going to do a little bit of damage, drop down, secure the light armor, and just delay more of the time. Eat away at more of it, making the comeback even more difficult.
This is a very deliberate game plan from dramiS right now, right? Even if the fights go wrong, like that previous one did, it doesn't matter. He's got the frags and the time to spare. So all he has to do is apply enough pressure, deal enough damage, and things will work out for him in the end. Even if he drops a frag, let's say that SIB does 200 damage, if he manages to do 100 in return, that's fine. Because he can just wait out the next spawn, slowly get himself restacked, play it safe, and SIB will have no choice but to go and restack. Get that armor back up, that health. By the time that he manages to do that, dramiS has already burned off another 20-30 seconds. That will be downfall of SIB in this first map.
Yeah, good defensive rocket there. Just giving up items and doing damage, that's really the name of the game right now for dramiS. He doesn't have to do anything else. There's not enough time. You can give away the whole map here. SIB, beautiful rocket there. Can he finish it? There's the rail from dramiS going through the telly. The dire orb right back into the rail. SIB's able to plant him. 6 frag deficit now, and this should be another one here as dramiS gets caught out. Okay, he did it! Get the bucket.
Sure did. Gauntlet coming out. We didn't get one from Razy in the first series, so dramiS, he heard your pleas, 40. He was like, all right, I'll step up. Razy didn't come through with the gauntlet today, so I'll give the fans what they really want. And SIB will call GG around 20 seconds early, recognizing that that was indeed the end. So map 1 goes to dramiS.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal. He kind of did him dirty on that last one. But, I mean, when you're in the arena, there are no rules. So dramiS able to take map number 1. And we're slowly going to get in map number 2 as we talked about Molten Falls. It's going to be Nyx versus Anarchy. What do you think? Anarchy, you tend to lean towards him a little bit more in terms of this matchup between the Nyx, or?
I do think so, yeah. I think that Anarchy, if SIB is able to continue applying enough pressure doing the damage, Anarchy will help him out more. We know that Nyx can be effective, but we've also seen what happens when she isn't. And that Ghost Walk, it's not a liability by any means, but it simply becomes a defensive tool. Something to buy you a few extra seconds, another minute of life as you escape certain death and slowly start to collect some resources again. But ultimately, if you're already on the back foot and your opponent has the lead, that's just delaying the inevitable. So I think that Anarchy is a very solid counter to kind of catch up with Nyx when she uses the Ghost Walk. And if SIB can hit his shots, I'm favoring him in terms of champion pick.
I dig it. I'm interested to see whether dramiS can keep up a decent rail percentage because, you know, hitting against an Anarchy is not easy. We will see. He's a skinny boy, but it's possible. We've seen some pretty good percentages against Anarchy, so it's just a matter of what dramiS can bring to the table. Solid railgun on map number 1. I'm assuming more of the same, but also the ability to swap, not necessarily go for the final frag with the rail, instead swapping to LG rockets when necessary, even tri-bolt. So that's kind of a slight adaptation from dramiS that we're not used to seeing all the time, and it, you know, it's very lucrative. It works out. You don't always have to get all the kills with railgun. Although I do love to see it. I'd like to go on record and say that I'm a big fan, but I'm just saying it's a welcome change sometimes. So.
Oh, we opened the series with a tri-bolt frag, and that's something that you rarely see. So getting exactly what you want, 40. I love the variety indeed that dramiS has been bringing to the table, but let's see if there's going to be some more of those up close and personal shotgun rails that he is so well known for.
I would love to see a lot of those and maybe more gauntlets. Quick peek, 77% in favor of dramiS on the second prediction for Molten Falls. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe more gauntlets. I don't know. That one was kind of out of left field. No fear, but you know, you never know what you're going to get when you tune into Quake Pro League, and that's why I fucking love it, Flea. Anyways, map number 2 shortly, chat. We will get into it, and again, the debauchery is going to be strong because there's no parents around this time. So, it'll be Nyx versus Anarchy, Molten Falls, and we will see exactly how this one breaks down. dramiS looking to take the series 2-0 off the first 2 maps, and maybe even a 3-0. Both players just trying to get their first dub in a long time, Flea.
And so far, dramiS is the one who is one step closer to walking away with it than SIB is. So let's see, Molten Falls, 2 light champions, 2 squishy champions. Those rails are going to be critical, right? Because a railgun, it always does 90 damage, but that 90 hits and hurts so much more on a squishy champion that spawns without armor than it does on anyone else. So that can pretty much instantly knock off a heavy or a mega and completely reset control in 1 or 2 shots. So let's see how the players approach this. I think rail is going to be critical, and it will be dramiS who walks away with that weapon right off the bat.
Yeah, the perfect spawn. Heavy and rail, I'm done. That's it. dramiS is full on go time right now. Does grab an LG just in case with a little bit of nail gun as well. But yeah, I think dramiS is more than comfortable, especially using the Ghost Walk in case things go horribly wrong with the rail miss, as he does the first one right there. But SIB, I think he was able to grab one and fall away, and he was. So SIB also has a rail, can engage in those long distance battles that we might see throughout this 10 minutes. dramiS able to grab rockets as well, so he's fully stacked to the teeth with weaponry. SIB taking a little bit of damage early, missing with that rail as he fades away back towards the Mega.
dramiS a little peek around the corner. It's like, is he here? Yep, SIB was just standing there. Around 42 damage being exchanged. 40, you commented on this yourself, right? Sometimes the fastest, lightest champion picks also result in the slowest and most passive games, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Neither player has been committing. Less than 100 damage exchanged between both of these combined, and we're over a minute in already.
Yeah, you have to pace yourself. Again, with the stacks, it's very important that you don't give up free damage. Using the speed in between items to get to various positions rather than just laying on the speed for the sake of flying around the map, which, don't get me wrong, is very fun, but it can be very costly.
Both players landing a rail. Oh, patient. I like it. Oh, but dramiS has got to be careful. He's railable. I think he's waiting for the Ghost Walk to reappear before making a move, but SIB is not going to give him the time of day. Pounces on him off the bat, and that makes SIB the one frag in the lead. Oh, nice combo as well. Some LG, railgun on top of the bounce pad. dramiS is gonna make a run for it. Good use of the Ghost Walk. Pops it as soon as he could. Yeah.
Oh, wow, dramiS. Fearless and somehow converts that, and just wow. Good rail
That
from
was
SIB,
indeed
though.
beautiful by dramiS. For a moment there, I really figured that SIB was gonna walk away with another frag, because he just cut him off, landed a big rocket, but then that Ghost Walk really opened things right back up for dramiS. He's able to get some resources, retaliate.
Face it.
Gotta hand it to SIB. He's stringing together a lot of rails, hitting 50% at 7 out of 14. Not bad at all. Just looking for a little chunk of damage here, a little burst. It's not enough. One more does it, and he takes the lead 2-1.
It ultimately didn't pan out, but I like the Ghost Walk from dramiS right there. You know, keeping SIB on his toes, just a random burst of aggression, trying to sneak up on him. Didn't get the frag, but still. Those are the kind of plays to keep your opponent guessing, and now these rails, dramiS, landing, I think, what, 3 or 4 in a row right there, but SIB powering on through, using that injection to recover some of the health. Now SIB, 2 frags in the lead.
Big rocket, there's the Ghost Walk, and this time SIB not able to guess correctly. dramiS actually getting good damage on the way out, but there's a Mega, and he still had Inject as well, so SIB still sitting pretty as he doubles back for this heavy. And you're right, I think early at the start of the game with the Nyx, I think it's nice to mix it up and use the Ghost Walk aggressively and passively, just so you're always keeping your opponent on their feet. 4-1 is SIB able to get that one, and maybe another one here, pinned up against the wall after the rocket, but the shotgun blast up close, able to net him his 5th frag.
SIB going for some risky plays though. Earlier when he went up the bounce pad next to Heavy, dramiS was sitting there, he had the shotgun right next to him. SIB wasn't all that stacked either. If dramiS had switched to the shotgun, that would have probably been a very free kill, but SIB just powering on through, taking some risks, and so far they've really been paying off. Ghost Walk comes out. Good play from SIB. SIB so well aware of the fact that you can't fire while using the Ghost Walk, so you can't chase the rocket jump down. That allows him to get some free distance in between, and now the midi comes through, but ultimately not enough damage to secure the win.
6-0 now for SIB, looking a lot stronger, playing it well, and unfortunately for dramiS, you have to keep in mind the speed of the Anarchy and how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to try and catch up. Ooh,
Yeah.
just missing with that rail.
Rail is going to be the single most important factor going into this second half of the game. If dramiS wants to make a combat happen, it's all going to be about the railgun. He cannot keep up with SIB. Anarchy is just too fast. He's either going to have to go for some tricky Ghost Walk pushes, some traps, or use the railgun and stop missing.
Beautiful tri-bolt there. Just jumps over and forces out the Ghost Walk again. He's able to grab the heavy. Almost guesses right, but doubles back. Sees him. Wants those cheeks. There's the double barrel on the rails again. Not landing for dramiS, costing him dearly. 8-0 for SIB. Complete domination over this Nyx, which a lot of people would pay good money for. What a jumping rail into the Mega as well, and the onslaught doesn't stop, Flea.
It sure as hell does not. Now dramiS, what do you do?
Just stop missing. Just skate better.
Stop missing, yeah. He's currently at around 40%, 42% rail. Make it 44, but he's missing some important shots. He's making a move for the Mega. Going to get rotation of the 2 major items. That's the first time in quite a while. But that's not what he needs. He needs damage. SIB waiting for him, getting a good read.
Nice
Misses
rail.
the rail. And SIB does land his.
So looking at the time, I mean, SIB fully in control right now. And you got to start thinking about map number 3. It looks like we're going to that one as the decider for this series. Again, both players looking for their first W in weeks. A lot of history here. SIB looking to break the curse, so to speak, of losing to dramiS in the Quake Pro League, I believe 3 times previously. A little bit of tri-bolt, not going to get the information. dramiS is just too fast, dodging everything coming out of Ghost Walk, trying to make something happen. Almost catching a second rail, 90 HP for SIB. Does grab a health bubble, so he won't be railable, and that's going to be what saves his life. Down to 17 HP after taking that rail shot. And he could just try and get out of here and play defensively again, just eating up the clock. Oh,
There
wow.
we go. dramiS, that's a good shot. He heard the teleporter. Figured exactly where SIB was going to be at. But he needs more than that. SIB does have that injection. Doesn't have it up right now. It has been helping him a lot. And dramiS missing the kill shot. Will find it now. For the first frag. Actually, he had another, but suicided that off the board. But yeah, 2 minutes, 7 frags against an anarchy. dramiS. Literally the only thing I fear he can do is just to not miss at all with the rail.
A bit of trouble, good dodge there from SIB, being patient. Doesn't catch a stray and give away his position. 2 minutes left. He's just trying to work the clock right now. Put up this W and send it to map number 3 as the decider. Uses the inject. Full on defensive mode right now to try and secure this map. 7 down. It's pretty unlikely as it is, but you never know. You want to be safe and play as defensive as possible on this one. Missing with that rail as dramiS just trying to cover ground. Rocket jumps up with the Nyx, takes a lot of damage, and now this is super strong position from SIB. Go through the telly, there's the rocket, and out he goes. So well played here from SIB. So just deny any kind of opportunity for dramiS at all.
Yeah, and with a minute left, this is over and done. SIB rising to the occasion on map 2. Clearly managed to reset after that first loss. That means that we will get the final map as the decider, the tiebreaker. Sometimes, Fordy, I love it when things pan out that way, when we both analyze this and we say, hey, map 1, dramiS, map 2, SIB, and then it's exactly what we get.
Don't you give me any credit. I said nothing. This is
Okay.
all you. You're very kind for trying to loop me in. It's like doing a group project.
Be polite and make you look good.
Oh, I know. I
looking out
appreciate
for
it. You don't have to make me look good. I know I'm a piece of shit. It's fine. I'm okay with what I am. It's like a group project where you did all the work and you're like, yeah, he did something. You're adorable. I love you. Thank you.
Either way, map 3. It's an inevitability. Well, it always was, but map 3 deciding the outcome of this series. That has become apparent by now. Let us take a look. Map 3, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Awoken, Doomslayer versus BJ.
That is indeed the case. Awoken will be the decider between these two, and we will see who gets their first dub in weeks. Doom versus a BJ, as you mentioned. Fantastic showing from SIB on map number 2 on Molten Falls, denying really any kind of opening for dramiS. dramiS actually, unfortunately, taking away one of his own frags as well. So strong showing from SIB, especially after map number 1. It's always good to see him bounce back. Does he have the momentum to take map number 3? We will see. As again, both these players, the history between them, dramiS 3-0 against SIB in the Quake Pro League officially. And just both of them reeling after some rough weeks, looking to get some light in their life, get a dub, start off strong for week number 9. It would be a delight. So both players want this real bad, and no better way to settle it than map number 3, Flea.
Absolutely, that's what you're always hoping for, right? That it's tense up until the very end. So now, dramiS running Doomslayer on Awoken, tried and tested, I would probably say the single most popular map that people run the Doomslayer on. There's just so much utility you can get out of the double jump, right? So many little ledges that you can instantly get on just by using that infinitely reusable passive. But then on the other hand, we've seen a lot of good plays with the BJ here as well. That dual wield can be so strong. We've seen so many traps being set, right? Players waiting near the mega, near the heavy. Someone else goes up the bounce pad, jumps into the room, and all of a sudden, they just get melted like that. So dramiS is gonna have to watch his back, check his angles, and make sure that he doesn't fall into one of those traps.
Absolutely, the dual wield can be absolutely destructive here. As again, Sirius somewhere smiling in the chat probably, just like, yes, dual wield LG, always. Fantastic. And again, I can't say it enough. I love the Doomslayer change where you can cancel Berserk. It really gives you more mobility, more versatility with grabbing an item, getting out, and still being able to defend yourself and not just being caught with your fists out. So we will see exactly how this breaks down between these two. Again, map number 3, the decider between these two for this set, the first victory for one of these players in weeks, and potentially SIB's ability to overcome the demons that is dramiS and finally get a victory over him in the Quake Pro League. Quick peek at the predictions, 70% in favor of dramiS on this one. So we will see. We will see how this all shakes out.
I feel like the percentage has been dropping every single map, right?
Slowly.
That favors dramiS. I feel like it's always gone down from like 80 to 77 and now 70. So players, or rather the viewers, warming up to the potential of SIB. So let's see how this goes down. SIB spawns right next to the heavy. dramiS walks away with the mega. And as always on Awoken, the first strategic plays revolve around securing the weapons. LG and Rail are both in very defendable positions. Oh, SIB, walking into the room with his back turned towards dramiS, turns around just in time to land a good rocket of his own. Again!
Wow.
Walking by dramiS with his back turned towards the opponent. This time dramiS does land the clean Rail, gets himself sizable stack advantage, but that Rail going to equalize things a bit more.
SIB controlling that T-Con, trying to avoid this rocket damage as dramiS just creeping up around the corner, wants to get a nice juicy rocket and actually makes SIB concede his position. SIB does need to re-up on some rockets, only having 2, eats a Rail around the corner, needs to be careful as his stack is dwindling ever so slightly here. Wants to try and make a push for this mega, needs to be able to read it. There's the dual wield sending him up the jump pad, and dramiS actually takes him out with a rocket before taking any damage.
A little too late on popping the dual wield. By that point, dramiS had already jumped his way right into SIB's face. Able to get the damage in, get up the bounce pad, walk away with mega, and then 40, like you said, uses the Berserk to race right back over to heavy, having that ability to cancel it and be ready to fight. So SIB was unable to follow up, and now dramiS has some solid control to work with.
2-0 looking strong as SIB jumps over. Does secure the mega. Gonna lob some tribal through the drive-through window. The Rail will miss. The rocket also from dramiS will miss, but now the push. He's got him in a corner here, and SIB just can't decide what weapon to use. Rail was not the play. dramiS melts him with an LG. 3-0.
Rail has been the deciding weapon for dramiS, 60% versus SIB's 40%. And dramiS having nearly 3 times as much damage dealt as his opponent. That's really helping him out. These engagements now, SIB being the first to get the heavy. That's a nice float, dramiS. Overextending, overstaying his welcome, gets pushed clean through the window, and SIB finds himself an opportunity.
Not bad at all. It's a hell of a way to get on the scoreboard and get back into this game here as we're closing in on 3 minutes past, just missing out on the toesies of Doomslayer. Wants a little bit of LG preemptively. dramiS wisely deters himself from running into that string of electricity. SIB able to get more map control and a lovely rail dodging that rocket. Beautiful dodge as well. Might get another one, just can't flick in time. Dual wield into rocket jump, very aggressive play. This should actually get him the frag though, as he pushes him into the corner, and dramiS is like, I didn't expect that at all.
Yep. Hyper aggression. Oh, look at dramiS move though. You're so fast with that berserk, the punch lunging you forward. I think dramiS just, you know, came in to take a peek. See, hey, is there any chance that I could walk away with the mega? Nope, okay, I'm just gonna fly punch my way out of the room.
Superman out of there.
Yeah, those rails. I'll dodge those though. Now SIB with a massive stack advantage. Also got the timings down perfectly. And dramiS just looking to survive, looking for any sort of resources around the map. He does have the 3 main weapons. He needs more than that. Good rockets though. That's a lot of damage. Flex tape won't fix that though. SIB with the drop down rail. Tying it up 3-3.
Decent damage out of the telly as well. Looking for a little bit more. Oh, dramiS almost gives him the angle and just clips the wall. SIB missing out on that damage. Misses again, but still gets the mega, so still maintaining control. Good shotgun. Nice return rocket from dramiS there, and a great rail as well. SIB taking a little bit too much damage. Needs to be careful. Is going to eat up the resource of the light armor and the T-Con here. Going around the corner. There's a rocket jump. Should pick him out of the sky, but misses with the rail again. dramiS getting away with murder right now. Finally gets served up a slug of rail. SIB takes the lead.
We've got a game on our hands, 40. This is going back and forth. Initially, it looked like dramiS really got off to a good start on this map, but SIB definitely managed to stop that momentum, get himself the lead. Good rails being exchanged. dramiS making a move for the frag. Trying to read SIB position. One rail will still kill him. SIB. Oh, dangerous place. From SIB right there.
Oh no.
Railable and still going for the challenge.
Nice reads from SIB, but unfortunately just can't escape. Not really landing a chunky enough rocket to deter dramiS, and he's able to tie it at 4, but trying his best to play defensive here. Now we're, as you said, tie game again. We got a game, and this is map number 3, the decider between these two. Both players trying to get their first victory in weeks. There's the dual LG around the corner. dramiS fighting back with rockets. Can moonwalk his way onto the heavy. SIB takes his leave, and there's the berserk to gain speed and makes the rockets count. dramiS coming out on top 5-4.
Just in time for the mega as well. SIB just doesn't have the weaponry to make a stand. He spawned close to the mega, but all he had was really the railgun, so couldn't challenge dramiS at that point yet. Misses a costly rail. dramiS does connect. Big rocket as well. I like the tri-bolt. Good play from dramiS right there. SIB made the right choice though. Didn't go through the teleporter. And this is exactly the way that SIB should be playing this. Sticking to his side of the map. Getting his stack up. Trying to get a good grasp rather, of the item timings. And then hoping to do some good damage and capitalize. But that plan didn't quite pan out as dramiS is hitting him heavy, hitting him hard.
Nice patience there from SIB. Evading death. Trying to stack back up. Let's get up. A decent stack. Love one more light armor. Shouldn't really contest this mega given his position, but gonna go off the jump pad. The rail misses, and now the mega's up, but SIB just kind of feigning the presence that he might jump on it. Instead, dramiS has to make do with just doubling back on that little bit of tri-bolt action. SIB with the dual wheel, a little bit of LG tickle, but misses with the rails. So again, the dual wheel not really coming in clutch like you'd think. He's not getting the full worth of it here. Now he needs to be really careful. The passive's going to bring him back up to 75%, but he's still railable, drops down, grabs the armor, but dramiS has him dead to rights now. LG on LG. dramiS is able to melt him down 6-4.
Nice fakey by dramiS right there. Going on the bounce pads, triggering like a little extra jump, making SIB think that perhaps he went back to the middle portion of the map. Nope. dramiS actually dropped right down alongside of him. And then when SIB makes a play for that armor, dramiS is right there to punish him. Good rail as well. That's two things in one. 90 damage for dramiS, almost entirely unreturned, and SIB burning that dual wield. So dramiS knows that he's now in such a good, advantageous position. Oh, I don't know about that one though.
A beautiful
rocket
shot.
jump, perhaps a little too high, a little too long, spanned in the air as SIB found the angle.
Oh, and dramiS is just giving him free shots, and SIB will take those all day. Beautiful rails there from SIB. Minute 30 left. He's still very much in this, only trailing by 1. Has the dual wield available as well. Almost hits another beauty of a rail. There's the rocket jump into dual wield. LG needs to make this count here. The rocket's raining down from up above. dramiS trying to stay alive, somehow gets out as the Tozy shot misses with the rail. 100 HP for SIB. No more rockets. Way too early for the heavy. Can't land with the rail, and here's a mad dash for the mega, but dramiS instead will double back and avoid it as both players, no armor to their name, very hurt.
dramiS indeed. Finally able to get himself a little bit of armor to work with, but the grand prize, the heavy, will be going in favor of SIB. And now dramiS really has to make the most out of that mobility advantage that he has with the double jump. See if he can evade SIB for another 40 seconds. I don't think dramiS is even going to try and make a move on these items anymore. Just wants to avoid his opponent. Oh, SIB rails him in the back. dramiS running for dear life right now. 20 seconds, SIB's trailing him closely. Can SIB find him? Nice defensive rockets. Oh, dramiS again, blindsided. Luckily for him, that rail shot missed. And now it all comes down to this, 10 seconds 40.
To make some magic happen. There's the rocket jump, but it looks like the distance is too much to cover, but he actually jumps back, but it's just too little too late. dramiS is able to sneak away with that one. SIB not happy as the comeback was right there, very close, but dramiS again, 4th time in Quake Pro League history, he's able to take it over SIB. This time 2-1, very close 3rd set, but in the end, the books will always show that dramiS technically has the edge over SIB, at least for now. We'll see what the future holds, but congrats to both players. I mean, fantastic series, but dramiS able to take it.
Absolutely, but that could have really gone either way, just as we predicted at the beginning. 40, it all came down to one final frag. One extra rail would have saved SIB right there, and he had the angle. Managed to sneak up right behind dramiS. dramiS was looking way over towards Mega when they were both at Banana, but no, SIB was still right there. If he had landed that shot, we might have seen a very different result to this game. But that's just how it works. A lot of ifs. And ultimately, it is dramiS who nevertheless walks away with the victory.
Yeah, I'm not sure if dramiS purposefully kind of went short of the doorway in Banana, but it looked like SIB thought he was escaping. He went for the pre-fire rail, and then after he shot, he saw him slightly to the right, and he was probably like, damn it. If I just took my time, I would have been able to hit that. But sometimes, you know, you just go for the pre-fire. Absolutely not uncommon to be able to do that, especially when you think your opponent is trailing. But there we have it, the breakdown for Awoken, 6-5 in favor of dramiS. Overall taking the series 2-1. Well played to both as we take a look at the overall series breakdown.
Yep, 12-5, 4-11, and then 6-5 to close it out. dramiS is gonna be breathing a sigh of relief after that one. Came close to dropping another map in this season, another series actually. But indeed, dramiS now has his 2nd win on the book. He beat Sirius in the first week, and now week 8 takes down SIB as well.
Not too shabby, always feels good to get a dub. Unfortunately for SIB, he's gonna have to wait another week before he might put one up. But that's it for the 3rd series of the day. We're going to take another break because we deserve it. I'm exhausted, Flea. I don't know about you. I'm sure you're exhausted because carrying me is extremely difficult. But we'll be back. We got 4 more sets on the way, so grab a drink and maybe some snacks. We'll be back with more Quake. Don't go anywhere.
Move now! Time to die. Time to die.